Yes, I am joined by Nori. Congratulations on the victory, 2 over Team Liquid, but also 3-1 on the split so far. How does it feel to start so strongly this year?
Yeah, last split, we really didn't have a good start, so having a good start this time is really, it's like a weird feeling, you know? Like, I didn't really expect it, but being, like, top-tier teams, like, without, like, maybe, like, a rank. Actually, wait, no, it is Rengar pick 2, but being top-tier teams 2-0 feels really good, though.
Yeah. I mean, speaking of the Rengar pick, it's one of your best champions. Were you expecting to get it in Game 1, or was there any strategy into hoping to get it? And then how did you feel performing on it?
Yeah, we saw TSM's draft against Team Liquid the other day, and it was pretty interesting. And yeah, they were giving Rengar up, and they were taking Kha'Zix, and I thought that was a pretty good trade. And we didn't expect them to give me Rengar because normally it's like taboo kind of thing, but they gave it to me, so I appreciate it.
Nice to appreciate that as well. And you were up against Reignover, who was a former MVP of the North American LCS, also dominant regular season. How did it feel to have such a good performance against Reignover?
Yeah, no, I looked up to him a lot, and I try to learn a lot from him. So I respect him a lot as a player, and it actually feels really good to do well against him. I think he's an amazing jungler too, and I really look up to that guy.
Yeah, a lot of respect for Reignover, and you had a great series against him. Also, just talking about the rest of your teammates, Ryu and Arrow, a lot of teams talk about whether they do want or don't want Korean imports because of the language barrier and the communication. And I wanted to get your opinion as a jungler. What's it been like in week 2 playing with Ryu and Arrow?
I think normally some imports have English problems, but those two are pretty good in English, and they're really engaging people. So that's something that's pretty surprising because some Koreans are more shy, but they're really engaging. So it feels really comfortable playing with them and being around them, and they're all really lovable people. So it's really nice.
Awesome to hear. And also, final question for you. Early on in the North American LCS split, there's been a lot of really strong play by, I'd say, the young, new junglers. Do you think that's a symptom of the meta of junglers right now, or is that more of a thing to stay with the quality of the players?
Yeah, I think junglers have so much impact early game right now that a lot of these junglers are pretty good, and they can snowball early game really well. But I feel like some of them don't know how to play the mid and late game for a jungler, and I think that's an important aspect too. So I think these junglers are pretty good, but also the meta is favoring junglers a lot early game.
All right, well, thank you very much, Nori. Congratulations on the 3-1 start and the 2 over Team Liquid. Let's head into the analyst test to analyze that game.
Thank you very much, Jat. Nori and Phoenix One looking good in their victory here over Team Liquid. Appreciative of the fact that he was able to get the Rengar in Game 1. Not in Game 2, obviously, as they were red side, so they opted to ban it. And still hand that Kha'Zix over to Reignover, who has looked lost to a degree with these targeted bans that teams are throwing at him specifically in the jungle.
Right, we talked about it a little bit yesterday, saying, oh, I'm not sure if it was worth it based off TSM's performance on Rengar. Here, when Nori gets his hands on Rengar, he takes over the entire game, and you're like, all right, if that's how the strat's going to work,
right,
that's a great strat.
Exactly. But then we get to Game 2, right? And you don't have that mismatch anymore, and Nori's on the Rek'Sai and still has very much control over the game.
Right, and you have to look at kind of that play that Reignover made in the bot lane, where his bot lane does not have priority. He's kind of invading around the blue buff. He loops around, looks like he gets out, kind of hesitant on what they want to do exactly, and he gets
really wanted that scuttle crab, man.
Yeah, it just was a little too greedy. I don't know what he was thinking. And then whenever something's going right for TL, something always feels like it's going wrong out of nowhere. So bot lane finally gets a solo kill. They're looking really good. But on the top side, Lorlo loses his mind. He dies, and then it's a series of events where TL is struggling to get ahead. But props to Zig, because once he got this kill, took over the game almost, where he shared the wealth. Yeah, this is the kind of thing you want to see out of a tank player. You're not saying, let me snowball and lane with this kill. You go bottom, you turn this play to get your bot lane ahead. They're going to pick up 3 kills off the back of this play. Yep. And then on the flip side, later on, he's going to get into a skirmish in the top river that's going to leave Golden Glue low, and he's going to pick him off as well. So Zig, despite getting handed that first blood, what he did with it was really, really impressive, and he definitely took over the game.
And I think this hits on a larger thing for Phoenix One here, which is that each of the players seems to very well understand what their role is on the team. Not just champion specific, but how they need to play as a squad, which is that Zig is not going to be their primary carry or their go-to carry in the majority of games. He's going to play those tanks, the Maokais and the Poppies and the Shens and whatnot, so that he can support those more aggressive players in Nori and even Ryu in the mid lane and Arrow when it comes to the late game. That's not to say he can't play the carries. We saw the Jace game, and Jace and Kled both banned here against Zig. So if the time comes, he'll probably step up. But it's really great to see the evolution of Phoenix One as a squad, understanding how to play as 5.
That's the big thing, is that they all work together. And when the draft says, all right, Zig, you need to carry on Jace, he's able to do it. In game 1, we saw the MF prioritize. Phoenix One's bot lane and lane is not actually that impressive if you look at their stats, and even the eyeball test, not so great. But when they're given the counter pick and they're given the priority in the draft, they perform. They crush TL's bot lane game 1. And it's the kind of thing that whenever a certain player needs to do something for their draft to work, they're able to do it. And that's what's really impressive. And what you want to see out of a good team is that they actually work together and not just like, here, someday you're the carry, please carry us every game.
Yeah, when Inori gets Rengar in game 1, he goes off like 9-0-7, whatever the heck the scoreline was. This time around gets Rek'Sai, plays a slightly more tempered game, knows that he's not going to be this high damage, 100-0 damage carry out of the jungle. So great on them. Player of the game is going to go to Zig, though, who did kind of act as a carry on that Maokai in this game.
Right, I mean, definitely that's where most of the advantages came from. Once he got that first kill, he was very happy to get out of lane, which is exactly what you want to see out of a team player, the fact that they're not just sitting in lane all the time, farming up, getting that bigger CS lead because you have a little bit of pressure in your lane. Using that pressure elsewhere on the map, much more useful.
Also, the dude drew a Kled ban, so I feel like you get a couple boosted points in the player of the game votes just for that. But as we talk about all the great stuff that comes out of P1 and Zig in this series, we have to turn a critical eye towards Golden Glue here. For Team Liquid, you talked about pieces of the puzzle that aren't really fitting for them. His lane phase leaves something to be desired, or much.
I would say it leaves a lot to be desired, but coming into the season, I think a lot of us were looking at Golden Glue as kind of this not superstar player. You're hoping that he holds on and then he looks good in team fights. And to be fair, he has looked pretty good in team fights once he gets out of this deficit that he seems to start every single game in. He even got solo kill game 1. But, I mean, if that's what you're expecting out of Golden Glue, you have to look at the other members around him. What are they doing? Reignover, not been that impressive. Their bot lane getting smashed, not that impressive. Lorlo's the only semi-consistent player, and even he has his struggles, didn't play great in game 2. So you look at this team, and it's easy to say Golden Glue is the worst performing member, potentially, but you have to look at what was expected of each of them coming into the season. He did not have the highest expectations.
Right, and then kind of the last thing to consider is just the fact that Team Liquid does have a second mid on the team. I know we've talked about it before, and it's really up to them when they're going to bring it in, Link in, but it might be time to start having that discussion in terms of what are the merits of having Lincoln versus having Golden Glue.
Right, the question is, what does he bring? Because when your whole team's struggling, and it's not just like, oh man, our mid lane just keeps getting smashed, it's like, well, sometimes our bot lane looks bad, sometimes our other mid.
Does Link even solve the issues?
Right, exactly, and Link is known to have a pretty strong voice about what his team needs to do, so maybe he does help in that regard, but I mean, you have to fix those things first. Draft as well being something that TL almost never seems to come out ahead on, so there's a lot of concerns when you look at this team.
Yeah, Phoenix won. They moved to 3-1. They're going to be happy with that. A struggling Team Liquid at 1-3. They've got some work to do this week before we get to week 3. We're headed for a break, but while we're away, send any questions you have to @LOL Esports for myself, Kobe, and Azale to cover later during NALCS tonight. Stick around. It's Envy versus Immortals when we come back.
I ran over. Sing to us. After match. After match.
Boom baby, boom baby, boom baby.
Our Piglet best singer.
He's got the double buffs on the side of Reignover. He wants that transfer. Nori gets the transfer. There it is, the hit. Arcane smash in 1 second. Oh, he can use it here. There it goes. Oh, huge mistake on that dive by bottom lane. Another kill. What is happening right now?
I flash. Does Ash have flash?
Yes. Double flash. Poppy's there. I'm pushing top.
Oh, sorry. I'm okay. I'm going. Okay, Ash can move a little slowly.
Okay, they can move. Okay, me it.
Hey, Poppy can go mid too.
Come on, keep going.
Phoenix won with the jump. Petrifying flash right onto Ryu to not give a Nori any more pop-up chance. Golden Glue's gonna get hit up here, and this is P1, almost living in their jungle. Look how tanky these guys are. 4v2 as the rest of the team comes in. Maokai healing off those guys. From the ashes of last year, the Phoenix is definitely rising.